Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wisdom of Women podcasts. I'm here tonight with the gorgeous and quite mad, equally mad as me, Sarah Fletcher. Share the same name, share the same madness. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sarah Grace, the founder of Living Limitlessly, and I'm on a mission to help women who've experienced sexual abuse as children to break free from the need to constantly overwork in an attempt to distract themselves from their internal pain so that they can reclaim their inner peace, self-love and worthiness. Tonight, here is Sarah, and Sarah's going to be talking to us about making life decisions that others don't agree with and doing it anyway, which sounds very fascinating to me because that's something I've done quite often in my life. Sarah is the owner, founder of Mushroom Souffle, an interesting title, which I'm sure she will tell us all about in a minute. She provides social media mentoring and mindset done-for-you content for expert authors and awesome entrepreneurs. So, Sarah, welcome. Thank you for coming on and sharing this next half, 3/4 of an hour with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, Sarah, a pleasure. I've been looking forward to this. Sarah, what do you do that brings value to the world and why are you passionate about it?
What do I do? So the world of social media is where I sit. I've been in here for about 13 years, which feels like a lifetime, but equally not because it changes so quickly. And my passion has always been just helping other people who are struggling. And years ago, I got made redundant, and it made me realize that no one likes to see like experts, entrepreneurs, business owners fail. And that's one of the things I know social media was where they had that struggle with. So that's the route I went down for it. And now I very much focus on business authors, published authors who have got amazingness to share with the world that will help everybody else. But maybe online marketing isn't quite their strength. So I'm all about making sure that they never, ever run out of anything to say and streamlining the whole dropout of it, the rollout of it across their social media.
Absolutely. That is something that is really close to my heart and a lot of the ladies that I know, because I know I'm good at what I do, but getting out there what I do and attracting people to me with the right message, the right words, the consistency is a real challenge. So hang on and listen in until the end of our chat, because Sarah's got a really awesome gift for you if you are somebody who needs some help with producing content. So fantastic. Hey, Sarah, how did you get into this work? What brought you here? What influenced you along the way to decide to do this?
So I got made redundant nearly 14 years ago. And
what were you doing when you got made redundant?
So at the time I was PA to the directors of an IT company in Oxford. And my whole career up to that date really had been working in small businesses. I did try corporate. Fucking hated it. Too much red tape for me.
Yeah.
Too many protocols. This is how you're expected to behave. This is how.
Yeah.
No way. That was not me. I was good in a small business because I could get my teeth into not just my job role, but loads of other bits of the business as well, which I really enjoyed. But I got made redundant in the middle of a recession, 2008, 2009.
Yes.
The world was, the UK, the world was hurting, and redundancies were rife. I couldn't find another job. And to be honest, I didn't want one. Because I'd already, if someone has the power over you to make you redundant, I just remember them handing me that letter and that just ultimate fear of financial security as I knew it, just being taken away from me. And I was like, well, if I'm self-employed, then I have control over this. My dad has always run his own business. And I guess I got it from him as well. So, and I did a lot of networking around Oxford. So I had a lot of support, a lot of people saying, go self-employed, we'll support you, we'll help you, we'll tell everyone about you. I did have a really awesome network. And so I just jumped in because it was that, or join the back of the dog queue. And
So what made you think, from going from like your corporate world, or from your, your proper job, what made you think, right, I'm going to help authors, or I'm going to do something with social media? Because back then it was nowhere near as popular as it is now. It wasn't such a thing.
no, it wasn't. So I actually went, originally I was a freelance PA.
All right.
And so I went and helped business owners run their businesses. And I started doing social media for me.
Right.
And the light, the light just switched up, like the switch just went. And I was just like, oh my God, I completely get it. I resonate with it. I see how this works. I was doing it myself. And then all my clients started going, can you teach me? And my business just morphed, because no offense to other VAs and PAs out there, no one loves doing admin. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. I did it because I was good at it, not because I loved it.
Yeah.
Social media was a completely different thing. This I loved. And the business just evolved. Absolutely evolved. And it was great. And it hasn't stopped evolving over the last 13 years. So, initially I was just working with any business that came my way. And then like the business author niche has come much later on. But I've worked with so many different businesses in so many different sectors. It's been fascinating because I love new stuff as well.
Yeah.
And I don't actually know much about the sector to go in and help a business with their marketing online.
Fantastic. And I know you have an awesome free Facebook group, don't you, that helps people. To please tell the listeners, if you are listening, folkses, pop us a comment, let us know we're not on our own. And if you're listening on the replay, put the old familiar hashtag replay and let us know that you're there. And Sarah, go on, tell us what your group's called.
So my Facebook group, Sarah's Social Cake. Everybody is welcome if you're in business.
What's this thing with souffle and cake then? What's going on with the baking?
I don't really know food. Like, I am a food monster, okay? Let's say I am completely obsessed with food, and my world revolves around it. If it's right for me to go somewhere and there's not going to be food, I'm not going. So, but Mushroom Souffle came from 3 days of the dictionary and the thesaurus being open on my computer. I did want it to mean something, and I wanted it to be interesting, because I was like, I have to live with it. It's not just everybody else. I have to live with this. It needs not to. So, I was looking at words that meant something, and mushrooms grow, souffles rise, and that's what I help people in their businesses to do.
I like it.
It's had interesting responses over the years. My dad hated it. My dad wanted me to call myself Sarah Fletcher Associates, at which point I nearly slit my own wrist through boredom. I'm not a solicitor.
Not you.
That's the furthest thing from me. So we then agreed that actually it was lucky that he didn't like it, because he was not my target market.
Yes.
And I have found over the years it's been the most amazing filter, because if someone doesn't like my business name, generally they don't like me and we don't work together. I'm okay with that. It saves me.
Yes.
No,
and I guess with a souffle as well, if you bang your oven door, the souffle goes flat.
See, this is when I know someone's having a bad day. When I've said my business name, they're thinking, oh, hold on a moment. Mushrooms sit in the dark in shit and they sink. And I'm like, oh, are you okay?
Absolutely. You said that your dad was an entrepreneur. How did your childhood influence what you do now and your passions, do you think?
Very much the whole thing of, I've never been very good at doing what I'm told. So I liked the idea of running. And I think knowing that Dad ran his own business makes you realise that that's a possibility. But I also learned that I didn't want to do it the same way as him, because what he ultimately created for himself was a job.
Yeah.
And he went to work Monday to Friday. He left at 7:20 in the morning. He got home at 7:20 in the evening. He worked all the hours and he was freaking knackered.
Yeah.
And and I know an awful lot of people out there that will say exactly the same for their dad if they just went out and they just worked.
Mm.
And it whilst I saw that too, and I have an amazing work ethic because of it, it made me realize that I didn't want to build that kind of business because
Mhm.
then I might as well just have a job.
Yeah. I think that's a huge thing that so many of we entrepreneurs fall into. And one of the main reasons I'm going to Dino's amazing event in Cardiff to help me do more of the stuff that I want to do, help more people without me having to be doing so much of the doing. Because yeah, you're right. We want to create this business to give, to help, well, to serve, but also to free ourselves. And we end up making this incredibly exhausting machine that of our own.
Yeah.
We made it ourselves, and then we can't escape it because
My
it's us.
way. And that's the thing as well. This is
Yeah,
my baby. I want to do this my way.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't want to get what I find is like when you've got businesses, processes become rigid, and even if they don't work, it's really hard to change them.
yes,
And other
yeah,
people don't necessarily like change, whereas I'm really good with change, as I'm sure we'll
yeah,
be talking about in a little while. Yeah, I don't necessarily just want that.
yeah. And it's not just business; it's how we run our lives.
I've got a
Yeah.
different hamster wheel at the moment to a hamster wheel
Okay.
that ran my own business, like,
Yeah.
and had, a building and lots of employees and that kind of thing.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah. It is, isn't it? It's how we run our. There's a lot of my friends here who watch these interviews, and they're not in business, but they're mums, so that's a business. If you are running a household, that is one of the most. And you've got kids, and you've got a partner, and you've got a job or your own business. You are in exactly the same place. You have your systems, and questioning whether those systems are actually creating a noose for you and minefields everywhere, or whether you could delegate more and do more for yourself. It's very much the same. So go on, tell us about the title of this is making life decisions that others don't agree with and doing it anyway. So talk about that.
I don't even know where to start because it started really young. Um, I think I've always, like I said, I'm not great at being told what to do, but I've always kicked against being told that you can't do something.
Oh yes. Oh
So
yes.
I guess kind of my earliest, like, proper rebellion against that for me was, do you remember being given careers advice at school?
Oh yes.
Now, I wanted to be an events planner, a party planner. I got told, and not just by the careers person at school, I got told by other people, adults in my life, that being an events planner was not a proper job. That was not something you could go and do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just remember being like, well, why? Because other people's idea of a proper job was being an accountant. And for anybody who knows me, I am shit with figures. Like, there's a reason I do social media and I'm not an accountant.
Yeah.
But I was pretty much told that my options were being an accountant or being a hairdresser. I can't even cut wrapping paper straight. We lose something. And this is definitely where it started. So it's like, why not? Why can't I be? So basically what happened was I went into the hospitality industry, and by the time I was 20, I was licensed to run a pub. If I'd been, I could run every department in a restaurant or a hotel. And then I moved kind of sideways, and I went from being front of house, or also a conference center as well. But I moved sideways from front of house actually into the sales office, and that's where I first became an events planner, and I was wedding and conference coordinator.
At 20.
I think I would have been 21, 22 by that point.
Wow.
So, and that's what I wanted to do. And I did. And I ran, when I first joined this first hotel, there was 2 of us in the office. And then my co-coordinator, she quit. And they never replaced her. And I basically ran a whole Christmas, all the Christmas parties, all the weddings that took place, all the conferences on my own from the sales office. And it was an eye-opening experience. And so what happened was, when I then decided to leave there, I have jumped jobs a lot in my life as well. Again, because of this, I would do a job and then I'd be like, well, there's nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned everything I can from this job. There's no chance of promotion, no chance for a pay rise. I'll go and do something else. I went from there, and actually so I think it was 2004, I actually went self-employed as an events planner.
Mm-hmm.
And I did my own stuff, and I freelanced for another events company. And I did that for years. And for some of it, that's all I did. For some of it, I had a full-time job as well, and I juggled two of them. But the fact was, all those people that were telling me that being an events planner wasn't a proper job, well, yeah, it is, because I went and did it.
Yes.
And it was like, my garage was full of, so I did wedding decorating as well. So I think all the centerpieces. So my garage was full of vases, crystals, pretty stones, massive feathers, candelabra, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really invested a lot of my time, effort, and money into that business because I wanted to do it so much, and I just still could never comprehend why anyone told me it wasn't a proper job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But even when I was doing it, I had people saying to me, well, that's not a proper job, you can't do it forever. Like, oh, interesting. So I guess that was my first big thing. Obviously, when I was a child, there was loads of stuff that happened in terms of me just saying, no, this is how I'm going to do stuff. But I think that was just, yeah. Oh, and the job hopping thing, that was always against other people's advice.
Yeah.
Because
you know what your human design is? If you've ever looked at it, have a look at your human design. I'll send you a message afterwards, because there are certain people whose human design is not to stay in the same job. It's and we are made like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the only reason I've stayed in social media for 13 years is, again, it's the evolution. It's being self-employed. It's how quickly social media goes. And also against advice from other people and people going, what's safe and what's not. At least twice now, or 3 times, I have completely stripped my business out, sacked my clients, and rebuilt what I was doing because I wasn't happy with how it was working. Because my business needs to work for me, not just the people I'm serving.
How did you make that decision, and what questions did you ask yourself to be able to go, nah, this isn't working for me, I need to strip it all back?
Well, I think the first time I did it, I had this literal epiphany, sat at my desk, and I was working on the computer, and I suddenly realised that I was spending hours. So I used to do full-on social media management packages. So businesses would outsource their social media to me. But the agreement was always, this is not me completely taking your social media over. We need to work together, because whilst I'm the expert in social media, you are the expert in your business. Mm-hmm. So I need you to feed me information about what's going on in the business, and certain expert information, and, expertise, like bullet points for blogs and that kind of thing. It's like, you need to feed me that, because I can't make that up. You're the expert. And they're all like, yeah, Sarah, this is going to be great. This guy signed that contract, and it turned into abdication, not delegation. Their brains literally went, Sarah's got control of my social media now. You don't need to bother. They wouldn't answer my emails. They wouldn't send me they missed their deadlines in terms of sending me content. And because I hate to do a bad job, if someone's paying money, I will always do the best of my ability. And I pride myself on that. I found myself spending more and more hours just in front of my computer, stressing because they weren't what they needed to. And I was literally trying to make shit up for them. So I was Googling stuff, and I've got like, that business is not my area of expertise. They just weren't keeping their end of the contract. And then I just was sat there one day, and I was like, what the hell am I doing? This is my business. I don't work like this. I was, as I say, I was stressed. I was spending too long sat on my computer. I was taking it out on my boyfriend when he came home from work, and I was a grumpy, moody fucking cow. And I was like, I'm done with this. This is not who I am.
Mm.
And I basically
Mm.
released all of my retainer clients from their contracts.
Mm.
I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And I ditched
Yeah,
the
definitely.
social media side of things. And whilst that, yes, that affected my financially, of course it did. I had people going, oh, but we need you. Like, no, you don't. You need someone to sit in your office as a full-time employee because that's what you want. Because when I'm not sat in your office, I can't get that information from you.
Yeah.
And I was like, either that or you guys just need to not do social media because you're just not that interested.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was that whole, and I had to rebuild a business with a different focus.
So what's the focus now?
Well, this was a couple of times ago now. So initially what I did was I ditched that and I just did training and mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
I still love the training and mentoring, doing one-to-one and group stuff. I've had some amazing programs with amazing people on over the years. I've got a program called the 12-week social media brain box. It's a 12-week program. We all go through it together and everyone goes on their social media journey. And so much of it is mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People have got so many crap perspectives and assumptions of what happens on social media because they've picked them up from other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not their fault. You know, it's like everyone going, oh, on LinkedIn, you have to be super serious and work orientated only. Give me strength. No, don't.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But it's like, this is not true. The whole point is it's social media. LinkedIn is social media. Oh, breathe. You're all idiots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Social media and then there's LinkedIn. No, lovely. They are the same things. But it's these things, it's those people that then give other people, they pass all this stuff on.
Mm.
And you've got entrepreneurs sat at their desks, petrified to put stuff out and pop their head above the parapet for fear of being shot down.
Yeah.
That's
true.
not okay. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
There are people who are not shining like they should be because they feel the judgment from other people. You might notice that this really annoys me.
So, you are quite passionate about that, Sarah, and I love it.
It's that refusing to be told what to do.
Yeah.
How are you to tell me what I can post on my social media?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so the training and mentoring is just something that I absolutely love, and that side of things, and like really, really getting me into it. And I just like watching the change in people as well. Those light bulb moments of them going, "Oh my god, I get it. You mean if I do this, then I can."
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
oh god, it's just it just fills me with absolute joy. So that's where I went with it. And then the business authors came in a couple of years ago when I realized that so many of my clients have been published authors. And I do love creating content. And with all of my past authors, I've always been like, as part of the package has been, well, give me your book. And I'll transform it into all the social media content you will ever need. And we'll use this in your social media.
What a gift.
Like, revolutionizes how much content that they've got, you know, and that can be done with anything. It's not just a book, it's podcasts, it's courses, it's talks. Everything that you've already got in your business can be completely repurposed, but it then means you've got this consistent message going out. You're not stressed, you're not spending as much time on it. You can do your ad hoc stuff over the top of it, which then gives this really nice blend of professional and the behind the scenes stuff. And like people really being able to get to know you. I'm very strong on personal brand as well. You know, it's as entrepreneurs, you know, we have these personal brands that we can own and we can really put out there because it's us that people buy at the end of the day. And so that's where the business authors came in. When I was like, all the content is already there. They should not be struggling. And also, as published authors, they deserve to maximize that book that they have just poured all of their love, their time, their expertise, in some cases their health, because they've been juggling that with a really busy business. And it shouldn't just be a launch it and then shut up and never talk about it again. This is something that constantly be spoken about because it is about elevating your status in your industry as that published author, that
Yes.
expert, that top layer, the creme de la creme, all these things that make other people, that, certain people stand out from the rest of the crowd.
Yeah. Do you work with self-published authors as well as authors who've gone through? Yeah, fantastic. So if anybody out there is a published author or has a course or has a program and could do with some help in working out what they're gonna post, because I've got so much in my head, Sarah, and then I look at I'm like, right, I got to do a post and I go completely blank. Haven't you just made some beautiful books?
Oh no, these are just these are my beautiful notebooks. So I'm always
Yes, they're gorgeous.
I'm always telling people that they need to write everything down that they think of, so you never run out of ideas. And these are my gorgeous,
What's the inside? Are they blank or are they lined or are they dots?
they're just lined notebooks.
Fabulous.
I've always just been telling everyone to keep everything in one place.
One place, that's it. So people can work with you in your free group, and then if you wouldn't mind putting the link to your program in the comments as well, Sarah, that would be wonderful, because it really sounds like something that a lot of the ladies would be interested in. There are a lot of ladies on here. I used to have another life as a network marketer, and I know that content as a network marketer, I was lured in by to a great company that had a really good mission around helping women who'd been sexually abused. That's why I joined. And I know a lot of ladies on here, they're not in the same company anymore. Look, we're all still friends, but we're in different companies doing different things. I decided to go all full into the helping women who've been sexually abused rather than stay with a network marketing company. But I know that can be an amazing second income, or a sideline for people. But you've got to get clear on what you're going to post about, and get clear on your brand, and just take a lot of the ouchiness out of it. And I think you can really help people do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll drop the link to my free ebook that showing people how to transform their business book into all the evergreen social media content they'll ever need.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. That's another extra, ladies. That would be wonderful. Oh, Natasha's chatting away to us here, and I haven't looked. She says that you have never got your head round LinkedIn, Natasha. You and me both, girl, but I'm on it. Natasha says you're amazing, Sarah, and as we are both Sarahs, we can both take that. Yeah.
You know what? We will have that. Thank you. We love you.
We're both taking. Thank you, Natasha, my darling. I have a question for you. Do you practice any sort of self-care, self-love techniques?
Yes. Otherwise, I probably would have gone a little bit mad by now. Well, madder than I already am. So I dance. That's something that I've done I've danced my whole life. But I do street dance, and I've been dancing with the same company for nearly 12 years now. And they are like my sanity check.
What's your company?
So I dance with a company called Urban Strides, and they're just I've met the most amazing people through them. Just connecting with people through music and dance makes such a massive difference. I'm huge nature. I love being outside. I love hiking. Can't beat being up on top of a hill or a mountain and being able to see for miles around. I'm all my spiritual stuff, a little bit woo, journaling, busy brains. Anyone with busy brains, journal those babies' thoughts out, because it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It used to be animals, but my cat died earlier this year.
Yeah, I know.
Missy was one of my little sanity checks, and that cuddle, and that presence of just helping you just take time out, de-stress, be quiet for a while, all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Natasha's saying that she always forgets to journal. Have you got any tips for helping people journal?
Keep your notebook, your journal out in front of you. Put it somewhere where you'll look at it every single day. And if you need to, if it's really a struggle, actually set yourself just a little reminder on your phone. Like, is there a good time of day for you to journal? And a lot of people like to journal before they go to bed, empty their heads that way. Some people like to do it first thing in the morning. I'm a bit more random than that. It's kind of quite often I just like to curl up on the sofa and do it in the evening. Have a little ritual that goes with it as well, because I also like to light my candles when I journal. It just creates an environment that's kind of nice.
So, like Natasha said, she's got a family. She needs to plan it around the family. So, morning, nighttime, when the kids are in bed, maybe. When you're quiet, make it into a ritual. So, have a little thing you do before. Do you set an amount of time to journal, or do you just go for it?
No, just go for it. Like, but some days I'll just do one page. Other days I will journal out pages and pages. It just depends what's going on. So,
and is that a different journal to your thoughts for your social media, or is that the same thing? Same journal? Different
stuff. So I also have an energetics mentor as well. So on a monthly basis, we get full moon prompts, new moon prompts, and just prompts for the month of. So actually, they're really good for like jogging you into a space of where do you need to be, what do I need to be looking at, what's going on. Obviously, we all know the moon has major control over us and what's going on with the planets and everything. So it's from my perspective, that just really helps me to stay on track.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Especially when I do things like keep moving house and changing.
Because you're moving house again, aren't you? Yeah. So
it's interesting that's been a massive thing. That's been another thing that some people haven't really agreed with, especially in the last 5 years. So I lived with a boyfriend for a while, and I had a flat that I rented out. And when we split up, the majority of people in my life, not all of them, some people supported me, were just like, oh, you'll just go home to your flat, won't you? I was like, no, I have no intention of going back to my flat. Because that, and everyone's thing is, it's that phrase, the sensible thing to do. And I'm like, have I ever chosen the easy or the sensible option? And I actually chose to make myself temporarily homeless. And I moved around for 4 months because I had no idea what I wanted to do. This relationship that had just ended, it was meant to be marriage, kids, the whole shebang. And we actually just weren't in that space. It was not the right place to be. It wasn't right for either of us. And, it had to end. But it meant that the whole future that I'd planned out, that we'd planned out, was going to happen. So what happens next? So I chose to move around for about 4 months doing house and pet sits. So I had no fixed. I was still registered at my ex's house for those 4 months in terms of council tax and stuff. But I just went through a website and I just organised all these house and pet sits. And I just constantly moved around every 2 to 3 weeks, looking after. I've lived in some beautiful houses. I've looked after some amazing animals, dogs, horses, chickens, cats. I really, really had a great time. And then I kind of decided, enough for now. But even when I went back to having a proper house, I went and chose to live in an annex on a farm in the middle of the woods.
Yes.
And I remember one of my friends saying to me something along the lines of, aren't you worried about mad axe murderers? And I was like, if someone wants to murder you, they are not going to be the weirdo in the middle of the woods. They're going to be in, so it's got higher levels of footfall. But I loved it because I just every day I just opened my front door, put my walking boots on, and I literally stepped into the woods.
Beautiful.
And then from there, I went into a cottage so that place lasted 6 months. Then I went somewhere that only lasted 3 months, and that was just a bad choice of housemates and things. And then the only reason I stayed somewhere for 2 years was because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So then I moved again last year, and I've been here a year, and I'm moving again in 2 months' time.
What did you do? So what, as a hoarder, as a reforming hoarder who is going through it, unhoarding myself with the help of a lot of therapists, what did you do with your stuff? What did you do? You got rid of it. You got rid of it. All of it. You got rid.
Own that much stuff.
Okay.
It's the most liberating thing I've ever done. It was amazing.
All of your stuff.
literally got rid of so much. You walk around other people's houses and at the moment, I live in a tiny 2-bed cottage. It's 100-year-old cottage. There is a cupboard under the stairs and there's this cupboard behind me, which is not that big, right? Pretty much anything that needs to be stored is in those 2 cupboards and everything else is tucked in like chest of drawers and stuff. I don't own much furniture. Everything will just pack up. Literally, it would take me 2 days to just pack everything up. It would take 1 van to move everything.
Wow.
And I love it. I love it. And I think I've just really got into the habit of, I like the freedom of it. And then, like I said earlier, I'm good with change. So many people like to get somewhere, put down roots. This is it. I'm here for years and years and years. And I think I do have a little bit of nomad in me in terms of I want to go different places. I want to explore. Over the summer, I was away for a whole month. That wasn't the plan. I was only meant to be away for 2 weeks. I packed for 2 weeks. I was gone for 4. So, but that's just because that's how I can work at the moment. You know, everything is virtual, have laptop, have car, will travel. And that's the really cool thing about it. But it's, but that's not for everybody. And I'm always fascinated about how other people are very quick to tell you that what you're choosing to do with your life is wrong. I had someone say to me when I left my the last serious relationship, can't you just go to counselling and learn to suck it up? And my answer is I would never do that to anyone, because do you know what? I deserve a loving, healthy relationship, and so does the guy I was with. And
absolutely,
we together did not have that.
Yes.
I don't do settling for second best.
No.
I don't want to be feeling like I'm stuck in a marriage where I'm unhappy, possibly feeling trapped. I just was not prepared to put myself there. No. And we had the issues, all the signs were there before we went any further, and it had to come to stop. But of course, other people aren't comfortable with that.
No, because it's a mirror.
Especially when they see you walking away from a very comfortable life and a lovely house and garden that we had. And I was like, I'm done. I'm packing my stuff. So it just doesn't sit well with other people because they can't see themselves doing it.
Or they can, and they want to, and they can't.
Yeah.
When I moved to Spain, I gave up a really good job as an emergency nurse practitioner in A&E, with a house, with 2 kids, with everything. I had it all mapped out. Didn't have the fella at the time, but that was not an issue at the time. And I was like, I don't want it. I need an adventure. I need to do something else. I don't know what I need to do. I don't know how I'm going to make it work, but I've got to move. And I had this fire in my belly for moving to Spain, and nothing was going to stop me. And it was illogical. And the amount of people who said, "You're mad. What are you doing? What are you doing?" 18 years later, I'm here and I'm thinking, I've got a fire in my belly. I need to move. I need to get rid of my stuff again, and I need to move.
It's what feeds your soul, right?
Yeah.
It's what you need. And the one thing I've had to learn is, do you know what? It's not selfish to do what I want to do. It's selfish of other people to want me to stay in a place that I'm not happy.
Absolutely.
Because it makes them feel better.
Absolutely.
Then I know people also do it because they care. But it's that balance of going, well, hang on, we are just different people. We've made different life choices. We have different situations going, and what one works for one person doesn't work for another.
Absolutely. About having your own strong boundaries, that I'm good up to here, and here's where that boundary is, and this isn't open for discussion. I'm here. I'm not asking for your opinion on my next move. And so many people are so keen to give you that. And lots of the ladies in my program and the ladies I work with, the problem is the boundary setting, because they are still finding it difficult to hold to their own boundary without feeling really guilty with the disappointment of others.
I used to be the ultimate people pleaser.
Yeah, me too.
I would do anything for anyone. Somewhere on my Facebook, I've done a whole post on this. I've just been like, I would do anyone who asked me a favor. Can you just do this? Even if it cost me time, effort, stress, money, I would still, and they, and no one ever really appreciated it. And I had to still been, and then I went self-employed. And oh my God, I had to work on the whole boundary thing again because I let clients overstep because in my head they were paying me. But no, they don't get access to my whole life just because they're paying me. I remember years ago, one of my mentors said, and it's so powerful because it's still stuck with me today, clients will make you poor. If you give them free rein, they will suck you dry and you'll never do anything else in your business. You won't do your marketing, you won't do your business development, you won't have a pipeline because the clients that you've got will suck everything out from you because you haven't instilled any boundaries. And I was like, oh my God, mind blown.
Yeah.
So true. And that's, God, I have amazing clients now. They wouldn't dream of doing this. But when you're young, because I was only 29 when I first set out to do this.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll do that for you. Of course I will. Mug.
Yeah. But we've got to go through it. We've got to go through it. Like you, I've got amazing clients now who would never dream of doing that. But in the past, I've had very less than amazing clients that, expect, but it's not their fault. It's you not putting your own personal boundaries in place. This is something I'm working on at the moment, a boundaries course with another wonderful therapist, Lorna Gale, about creating strong boundaries for yourself, whatever situation you're in, because so many, I think it's kind of inherent as a woman. We kind of are brought up societally to believe that we have to give everything. Yeah. She's and put a bit of motherhood in the mix. Oh my Lord. You're doomed.
I totally get that. Really, and it's hard. Inserting your boundaries is really difficult because the people that you've got in your life who weren't used to them will push back so badly because they're like, I don't like this. I liked the status quo as it was before. And the result was I just had to let people go. And whether that was in my personal life or whether that was in, in my business life, the people who overstepped, they had to go.
Yeah. And and it's hard.
It's emotional because ultimately you might have in every other respect, you might get on with them really, really well. But there's something that they do that just keeps causing you grief. And if they don't respect your boundaries.
Yeah. Once you've shared them, because it's not fair to expect them to expect them to respect your boundaries unless you've stated them. And that's half the trouble. We don't actually state what our boundary is because we don't know what we want. We're just there. Take me. Yeah.
And especially as kids, and I find especially as little girls, it was very much shush and what you're told.
Oh yes.
And that sits with you. And then when you're that type of personality like us that start pushing, and outside of those, I have a vivid memory of being about 7 years old, and my mum and dad used to send me to Sunday school. And there was just this one, like, it was never my thing. I wasn't interested. I've never been religious orientated myself, full respect to anybody who is, but it's not my thing. Even at that age, and we were playing, and all the kids were playing with this crappy Noah's Ark toy. There was nothing. Me, I'm off down the aisle singing and dancing to myself. And you remember, like the big church doors would have those massive curtains that would pull across them. Just dancing in and out of the curtains. And one of the women that ran our Sunday school was a mum of one of my friends. She came bolting down that aisle. She grabbed me out from behind those curtains, and I got told in no uncertain terms to stop being silly, get over there and play with everybody else. I was not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
I wasn't damaging anything. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was merely singing and dancing and in my own little world like some kids are. And I remember getting sent back, and I remember just stood there, just looking at them all sitting on the floor, playing with this toy. And I was like, and I went home and I told my mum I was never going back. And she never, to be fair, my mum was totally on board for that. She was like, if you're really sure that you don't want to go because your friends go, I was like, I don't want to go. But it was definitely very much, that's the upbringing I had of you'll do what everybody else is doing.
I think that would really resonate with so many of the listeners. Being different isn't okay because it reflects badly on the people around you.
Yeah. And it's
we could talk for the next 24 hours, but we've got 3 minutes. Just look, this is supposed to be half an hour. Everybody who's listened, thank you so much for listening. If you would like to find out a bit more about what Sarah does, if you want to get into her world, she's going to pop her information into the comments. If you've got anything, if you're listening on the replay, if you want to have a chat with us, we're going to be popping into this regularly over the next few days to answer your questions and have a chat with you. So please don't be shy. Put a comment in beneath this video. Sarah, it's been an absolutely wonderful nearly hour.
I always love talking to you. Any
excuse, that's it. We'll be back.
We just got to do this live so that everyone else
knows
into our chat.
I think we're channeling. Have you listened to Titting About with Dawn French?
No, but yeah, I hate to.
Audible. We have just done an episode of Titting About. Alan, thanks so much. It's been absolutely wonderful. Thanks everybody who stuck with us and listened. I really appreciate it. It's really great to be able to do this and to have an audience to tit about to. Thank you so much. And see you all soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye.